What's up, everybody? I am Tim.
And I'm Jake with Uncommon EDC.
And joining us tonight, you know that guy, it's Scab from Choirboyz Outdoors. Thanks for joining us, Scab. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate y'all having me on. Doing well. Hope you guys are.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
doing
absolutely.
good. Absolutely. So I see some of the regular folks in the chat, and I'm sure some other folks will start rolling in. Kathleen, Marco, Joseph, Mind of Milton. Thanks for joining us, guys. I don't see any of our moderators yet, but they will be here.
Yeah, not quite yet, but I'm going to throw your YouTube link up in the chat just for everyone who's not familiar. I think we probably have pretty similar audiences, though.
I would
Oh,
think so. I think we're all pretty circle the wagons pretty good.
Yep.
There's Blue
But I
Mighty.
appreciate that. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, of course.
He's Scab. I'm not. So
Well,
we were
no,
just. Yeah,
what's going
everybody
on,
knows
man?
Blue.
Good dude.
So we were just talking before the show, and I just want to start with this. So tell us about Blackie Thomas. What's going on? How is he doing? And how can folks help?
Real quick, we literally just and guys to Tim and Jacob, thank you guys for having me, and thank you for letting me do this, guys. Blackie Thomas, many of you know, has a great channel, bushcraft channel, Old Southern Woodsman. He suffered a stroke. Uh, he was able to have surgery. They removed all the clots. There's no clots there. There is some lasting damage. We don't know what. One of his kind of brothers in arms grew up with a guy, Bear, started a GoFundMe. And if you go to my channel, I have I have two videos about Blackie, and that GoFundMe link is in both of those. Or the easiest way to help Blackie is pull up his channel and watch a couple videos. That I think sometimes, Tim, people don't realize how much that actually helps.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
watching his stuff, commenting on his stuff, give him a subscription if you're not. I think he's at like 95,500. It'd be great to get him over 100K.
For sure. For sure. And I threw up both the GoFundMe and a link to his channel in the chat. You can just click
Appreciate
right
it.
on that. It'll take you over to his channel or that GoFundMe.
Thank
So
you very much.
do you know if he has to have more surgeries, or we don't know what's going on with that?
Okay, so eventually there will be a pacemaker.
Oh, okay.
He is not a candidate for a heart transplant. His heart is failing slowly. Basically, real quick synopsis of what happened. He had went to Georgia Bushcraft, he and Bear, got back that Monday morning, were having breakfast, and they went to part ways, and Bear pulled kind of a Columbo type thing and said, "Oh man, one more thing I want to ask you." And in about a 5-minute conversation, like he said, the whole side of his body went numb, couldn't speak, and he thought it was part of his hypoglycemia.
Yeah.
But he couldn't speak. Blackie's, if you know him, he's always got a pen and a notepad, always. So he was trying to write OJ. He could make letters, but he couldn't make OJ. So Bear, who is a first responder, realized, hey, we have a situation, got him in the truck, picked up his wife, hauled ass to Dothan. Apparently they have a first class trauma, heart attack, and stroke center. They got him on the table pretty quick. They were able to get all the clots. That's a plus and a positive. One of the things that's, for lack of a better term, is a miracle. Is Blackie actually went without blood, I believe, to the left. So if it's the left side of the brain, it's the right side of the body, I think.
Yeah.
And it was just an absurd amount of time that he went without blood flow there. So there is some damage, but he said he doesn't know what it is. It might be, how does he react to a situation?
Right.
He feels like he still has a pretty good memory. He can use his hands, which thank God for that. But he's in good shape that he's here, but
Yeah.
there's a long road to hoe. I think that's the best way to put it.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't think with something like that, you'd never really know the extent of it until time goes on. Like you said, when certain situations arise, you begin to realize what's lacking or what's wrong. It's not something you can diagnose immediately. Well, yeah, guys, if you can help with the GoFundMe, of course, not everybody can help, but like Scab said, just watch a video, subscribe to his channel, like, comment, every little every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
And is appreciated. Everything's appreciated. First and foremost.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Stacy, welcome.
So, Scab, tell us, when did you become a knife guy? Have you always been a knife guy, or how did
I've,
that start?
I've always, well, I've always been a knife guy in that I've always owned knives. I've always loved knives. I didn't really like go hardcore into them until about, well, and I'd say 2016, 2017. And when I say that, I mean like that transition from I grew up in the South.
Yeah.
We have them on us from first grade, kindergarten, what we just do, right?
Right.
It's part of life. And then in the late 2010s, I really got into all the different stuff. And man, it took off from there. It took a life of its own.
Yeah.
And, the more I do this, I don't know how you guys are, but the more I do this, I find it becomes a little more nuanced, right?
Yep.
And I like it more and more. I enjoy it more and more.
Yeah.
I learn something every day. But I am a knife nut.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I feel like I have a similar story there. I had maybe 20 knives up until 2019, 25 knives, and I would carry one every day, but it's not like I was obsessed with them. And
Right.
then somewhere along the way, it turned into rounding into about 600 knives now.
That's
fully
crazy.
obsessed.
Yeah, no doubt. So, are you into any other EDC stuff? Flashlights, wallets, multi tools, all that kind of stuff?
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
Honestly, no. Well, no. No, and
Yeah.
I have nothing against it. I've found myself, Tim, when I first started off, like with the channel, had no clue. I had no plan for a channel. I just wanted to have some fun. I wouldn't have known what EDC was before I got into YouTube. I
Yeah.
mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated and I'm intrigued. Like a lot of guys, I've noticed the correlation between pocket knives and flashlights and wallets and things. And I think it's
Watches.
cool. Watches is a big one. So I kind of, I've looked at it and I'm like, how do these things tie in? When I first started watching like knife content on YouTube, Advanced Knife Pro,
Yeah.
Mark was one of my favorites and he still is. But he did flashlights, beer, and knives. And the beer's obvious. Okay, I
Yeah.
know why you do that, but I always try to. And then as I watch people, I think I watch Tack a lot. It's cool. I like watching what everybody carries. I'll tell you this: the best way to sum it up. If somebody said, like when I'm going through shorts I stop at all the pocket dumps.
Yeah.
So while I'm not really intrigued, while I'm really not into them myself, I am intrigued with what other people carry. I do like watching and seeing and learning. I enjoy that. I enjoy
Now,
that.
now Jake is an EDC guy,
Yeah.
right? Like, but me, and I've said it on my channel, I've always been just a knife guy. But I think I mentioned to you on Instagram or something that I kind of just get not bored with it, but sometimes I'm just like, I want to do something different. So the whole flashlight, multi tool, that stuff's new to me. And I'm not really into it like some guys. I can't imagine having 50 or 100 flashlights. You know what I mean? Now, I've got hundreds of knives, but yeah, like, and that's nothing. 50 or 100 flashlights is nothing, but I can't
Well,
see myself like I have to have a new titanium flashlight. I got 8 of them and I'm good, you know?
I can't see me telling my wife I'm getting into anything other than that. I can tell you that. We're
Yeah.
sitting in, I call this the war room, which, by the way, boys, I'm going to need y'all to send me some nice glossy 8x10s.
Nice.
All
I'll
right.
put all my YouTube knife reviewer buddies up on the wall.
Heck yeah.
For sure.
But for you, Tim, like branching off, I will say this: the camping and the bushcraft. I've kind of ventured more into that as because dude. Listen. I love knives. I got a bunch. I'm sitting by a bunch of them. If y'all wanted to talk about them, I was ready.
Yeah.
But the thing is too, it's YouTube as well, right? So
Yeah.
you have your knife passion, and then you have to run your channel.
Right.
And I get very, very redundant. So I don't get mad at people. I'll have people, watch a couple weeks, month, and then they'll pop up a year later. Hey man, took a break. I'm not mad at that because my style can get very redundant in the way we do it. So I understand it.
Yeah.
I do. I totally get it.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like Tim in that I get bored doing the same thing over and
Yeah.
over. So
Yeah.
I'm into all kinds of knives, slip joints, fixed blades, folders, utility blades. But like this week I did doing 5 long form videos. I think I'm only covering one knife. Got
Yeah.
flashlights, first aid kits, all kinds of random stuff. So it keeps it a little bit fresher.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask y'all this then. That kind of I did want to ask you guys this. Do you find yourselves getting put or getting trapped, and maybe not in a bad way? Do you find yourselves getting locked into a certain style knife? People labeling your channel as, say, a flip joint or a pocket knife or a Edie. Do you find yourself getting locked into that?
For me, I don't think I do because I've only been doing knife content for a little over a year. I just started doing knife stuff in summer of 23. And from the beginning, I've always done modern folders, slip joints, and fixed blades, like all of them. Now, when I started branching out and doing a few flashlights and multi tools, I was thinking, this shit's not going to fly because people don't come to my channel for that. Whereas, like, Jake's been doing that from the beginning, but it seems to do okay. I don't think I get pigeonholed into a certain type of knife. And I've asked people, what do you want to see more of? And my subscribers like that I mix it up. So,
Yeah.
what about you? What about you, Jake?
Yeah, the same for the most part. I do notice certain stuff performs better than others. For
Yeah.
me, it's like weird stuff like gravity knives and automatics and hidden bolster releases. Those are always going to get more views for me than just a regular knife. Same with like utility knives, just kind of very niche stuff seems to do very well, more so than the common stuff. But I don't really notice a difference in like feedback or anything like that. And same average views for the ones that aren't the outliers that perform a little bit better. Those are the same no matter what type of knife it is.
And my subscribers and the people that comment regularly tell me that they like that I mix it up and you're not always going to see the same shit that you see on everybody else's channel. You know what I mean? Because I'm never going to be that guy that has every newest freaking Civivi or CJRB or whatever. I'm just not,
Right.
So,
As for Angel, would mention wanting to get a hands on a gravity knife.
oh yeah, you've got a few of them, don't you?
Yeah, only one in front of me, but I probably have 4 or 5 of them.
Now, what about you, Scab? You probably, and maybe I'm wrong, and I don't want to step on your toes. You probably get pigeonholed as a big knife guy, don't you?
Big time. Big
Yeah.
time. And here's the thing, and that's kind of what I was leading to. I ask my subscribers too, and they want to see everything, but you can look at the views and tell they
Right.
don't like Jack. And I will say this though, and you guys are a little more nuanced in what you do. I just read Randy's comment. Randy WSG gets kind of locked into a slip joint. And here's the thing: it's not that anybody goes, "You got to stay there."
Right.
Right.
But I think they started off like people start off with me to see, you know, something like that,
Right.
or something crazy, or the shade Indonesia, and that's fine. I love doing that. But what happens is people see, like they might see the work tough gear stuff. Actually, I don't know what I was thinking. This is what people like come to the channel for, right? The predator hunter bowling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what you get known for. And I love doing it. I enjoy doing it. But I think sometimes people see, like different companies, K-Bar, for instance, might see the views on that, and they sent that little folder,
Right. Right.
and I love the folder, but it doesn't get the traction. But I
Right.
found out too, a lot of times people don't want to see a slip joint work. They don't want to see a folder work. They want a good look at the knife.
Yeah.
They want to know the nuances of the knife, and they're good with that. I have noticed that.
Yeah.
Byron.
Yeah, and something that I want to do more of, I've got a shit ton of fixed blades. So the way I kind of look at it with slip joints, people want to see the walk and talk, the fit and finish. And a lot of that's true with modern folders too. With fixed blades, people want to see them work. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And I really want to do more of that outside stuff. And I just wasn't set up to film that. I got a little chest rig and all kind of shit. I went outside, made a whole video, none of it recorded. Like my
Yep.
first go at it, I was like, yeah, we'll come back to that. That did not work. So
Well,
Yeah,
what
this is
I
okay.
think what people find out is with the fixed blade, like if you watch my channel, and hey, I'll be the first to tell you, I've been on here a little over 4 years. I think I've got over 8,000 videos. A lot of that is the shorter content. But if you go back and you went to my channel, hit videos, and went older, all you're going to see is a lot of chopping and crazy shit because I knew how to use the knife. It's one thing to know how to use a knife, right? It's a whole different thing to film using a
yeah,
knife and
yes,
make it coherent.
yeah,
It really is.
Yep.
I've seen some really, really good knife designers take a knife, and this is one of my favorite cold steels. But I just saw a knife designer the other day, a friend of mine. He had a knife. It was about the size of this Recon Scout. He said, "Hey man, I did a review on it. I'm gonna send it to you. Tell me what you think." It looked like a monkey humping a football. And I knew the guy could use a knife because I know him.
yeah,
So we worked it out, but it's just the nuances. So I'm trying to learn the nuances of the slip joints and the folders and the
yeah,
things like that, and get better at the fixed blades. But I think a lot of times people start off watching you for one thing,
yeah,
and so they're just not used to you doing something else.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah. Well, my channel started as a fishing channel and fish keeping. And I had a bunch of aquariums in my classroom, right? So that's where the Tim School of Fish came from is
Okay.
some of the videos were filmed in my classroom because that's where my fish tanks were. And it all started because some of my ball players said, Coach, you like to fish and you got all these fish. You should start a YouTube channel. So I
Yeah.
did. And then I just quit doing it. And I was off YouTube for like 4 years or 5 years. And then I just one day was like, well, I want to get back on YouTube. What can what can I do? I can't fish as much anymore after I had back surgery. I was like, well, I like knives. Let me do knives. And a lot of the subscribers that I had that were initially watching me because of fish stuff stuck with me, and now they're all into knives.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty cool. They were like,
Well,
hell, I didn't give a shit about knives. I just like watching what you were talking about.
Byron, I think Byron's splitting slices of Scab series on the slip joint
Yeah, that
is a
is cool.
fantastic series. Well, here's the thing with that. That's the way, because Andy's been really, really good to me from RoseCraft.
Yeah.
That's kind of my way of saying thank you to him. Those long form slip joint videos get very few views. And for me, I'm okay. I mean, I got a job. It's not a big, but the shorts, they do really, really well. So for me, and I've kind of just said to Andy, I said, look, man, I'm going to do them this way. I'll get a couple long forms in here and there, but the shorts, put eyes on. And I thank you for that, Byron, because that one does good.
Yeah, and I'm
So
sure
some of
Andy's.
it's finding your groove.
Say that again.
I said some of it's just kind of doing stuff like that and finding your groove. And Jake's name, Uncommon EDC, I think that's a brilliant move because it opens the door, it keeps the door open for him to do whatever he wants.
Right.
And that's something that if you're going to get into YouTube, I think you need to know. Don't pigeonhole yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of guys do that. Not meaning to, don't do it regionally, don't do it, but that Uncommon EDC or Tim's School of Fish, you guys have the doors open to do whatever you want, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and that's exactly kind of what I try and do is just keep it interesting for myself too. I try and find weird and just unusual stuff. Like the latest pickup was, I don't know if anyone's seen these Doughboy whole enchiladas, and it's a little 3D printed, like a soapbox. I don't know why it's not focusing in there, but it's like the size of a bar of soap, and this slides out and has a leather strap on one side that flips around and has a diamond sharpener on the other. Just kind of a small little pocket sharpener that you can keep in your pocket. They're like $30 or something like that over at DLT. And I just thought this was like the coolest thing. But if I were only covering knives, it's just one of those things that would end up in my bag and never get shown.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your channel's going to change. Yeah. Everybody's channel's going to change and evolve. It just is. That's part of it.
You die.
So have you always carried and been into big knives and big fixed blades, or did that just start with YouTube?
No, I've always had a big knife on. Always.
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated with them. I've always loved them. They haven't always been the nice ones, but I have always. And for me, you live in Florida. Living in Florida, we can carry pretty much what we want,
pretty much. And it's not uncommon to see somebody with an 8-9 inch belt knife all day, every day, everywhere I go.
Not at all. And nobody thinks anything about it.
No.
I've always enjoyed. Now, I will tell you where that's changed, Tim, is I find myself now, like tomorrow's Work Tough Wednesday, right? So I've got 2 backpacks here. I'll fill them up with knives and take them with me. And I'm going to, this one, the Red Wolf, I'm going to try to get as much footage on as I can. I think they've got a bunch of these in stock, but I'll rotate it throughout the day. So
let's see that one. Pop that one up here. Let's put it up there. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and this one is as basic as they make.
Yeah.
This one I'm a big fan of. I'll tell you the truth. Vic Lynn, the owner of Work Tough, this is his design. His designs are some of my favorites. Yeah. But I'll carry that. I'll do that Predator Hunter Bowie, some of Zeke's designs, the Nomad. So I'll mix it up. You know what I'm saying? I'll mix it up during the day, and just get a feel for the blade. I enjoy doing that. I carry this one a lot. The Nomad, is this field or camp? Zeke has a whole series. I think this is the camp knife. Yeah, Nomad camp. So I'll rotate them, Tim. I try to rotate them as much as I can.
Yeah, see, something like that is legal to carry here, but if I went into a grocery store, they're shutting down the grocery store in California.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody's freaking out over that. Yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, it's literally in Florida and down in the South, it's nothing to see somebody with a big ass belt knife. You don't even think twice. You don't even give them a second glance. It's just commonplace.
Right. Yeah, that's why I kind of gravitate towards these smaller fixed blades. Do you really carry any smaller fixed blades, or are you exclusive
Yeah.
to the large?
No, I carry. I'm huge. Shoot, thank you, Mad Duchess. Thank you for that, Bubba. I carry a ton of what I call pocket fixed blades. That's kind of like my favorite fixed blade to carry.
Yeah.
I'm just a huge fan of that. I'm really, really, really. Um, I was going to see if I had one sitting here. I've got a bunch of them. A lot of mine, man, are the work tough gear like the Nomad EDC or
Oh, right.
the Nomad Bushcrafter,
Yeah.
the Scab ground. What I do, honestly, Jake, is I put it just like that and I stick it in my front pocket. And
Right.
I'll use this, but at work, I powder coat and sandblast. So
Yeah.
I'm really not going to I don't like taking any of my folders really because that silica,
Filled up, yeah.
yeah. So I carry a lot of the pocket fixed blades. Now, do you carry a fixed blade?
I do, but I tend to carry smaller fixed blades, so stuff like this is ultra small. Just
now, is that kind of like a Kiradashi? Is the middle one?
It's a Tonto blade, but yeah, sort of. Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, those are
usually like 6 inches to 7 inches or so, with a small pocket sheath, something ultra minimal, so it can fit into the mag pocket of my pants.
Yeah. See, I love that middle one. That one, I would carry that one. Jacob from Exodus Knife and Tool. I carry his Adventure Craft a lot.
Oh, there you go.
That one. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, very similar profile, just a little bit shorter on this one.
Yeah. Now his mutant looks sick, man. That one he coming up. I know a lot of people love that CRKT Survival Minimalist. I know a lot of people love it.
I don't think I know that one. Let me.
I have the Cleaver version, really small. I think it's a 8CR13, if I remember correctly. They have a few different handles. I know Blade HQ has their like, what is that, Kraken version with it on the blade.
I know that Minimalist series is the survival one, just that drop point, right?
I think so. Sure. I'm not sure.
Those are almost too small for me. They're like almost a neck knife size. You know?
Yeah, definitely neck knife size.
Yeah, my average pocket fixed blade is, somewhere between 7 and 8 inches is a good sweet spot for me. I've got a few that are smaller, but and then anything over 8 inches is like a belt knife, but I carry a pocket fixed blade more than anything else because it's easy. It's not going to get sand all in it. It's not going to get all jacked up,
Right.
Well, it's the strength. You've got the strength of a fixed blade with the size of a pocket knife. And if you use yours, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of times I'm at work. I'll reach down and pick up a stick or a piece of wood from work, and I'll just whittle with it. So I try to do as much cutting as I can, as often as I can. It's not always tires and ratchet straps. A lot of times mine is whittle. So I love having it. I carry your snook a lot. Seeing Very Good Knife Company. Shout out to you, brother. Yeah, that mutant looks sick. But I carry that snook a lot too. I've used it a ton. That's a good size for me.
I appreciate that. And somebody mentioned earlier that you like to help the small knife maker, small knife
Yeah.
designer, and I know that me personally, I appreciate it, and I'm sure Jacob very good, and a lot of the other folks do. What made you decide to kind of make that your mission almost?
Well, because the big knife companies piss me off.
Yeah,
Um, the truth, here's the truth. I am very much. I don't do politics or religion on my channel. I just because I'm just not arguing. But I really, truly, honestly believe in the working man, and
yeah,
that's not cliche with me. And if I knew, and here's the truth, I've been given a billion chances, a billion second chances, a billion should be dead or in prison, seriously.
yeah,
So my thing is, if I can help, then that's what we're going to do. And some of it, Tim, if you're just going to be honest, some of it's ego, man. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not an angel, but
right,
like very good knife company. The guy's a great maker.
yeah,
He's not going to have the buying power of a Spyderco or a Benchmade. And here's the truth. I just did the American Made video, and I love American Made. I carry it a lot, but it's like a lot of times with those bigger companies, they act like you got to jerk them off to get a conversation. I'm not doing that, man.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
No,
saying? So a lot of these guys who are starting off, if I can help them, man, that's what I want to do. And I don't, while we're on here talking about it, let me say this. If you are a small maker and want to send me a knife to review, I do not ask for that knife. I do not charge. I'll do the review and send it back to you. So I had somebody say, "Hey, what would you charge?" Nothing, dude.
yeah,
I get content. I enjoy it. You don't have because I know like for a small maker, maybe they're going to do a run of 10, right? Maybe they're doing a special run of 10 knives. They need to sell those 10 knives to pay their bills. They don't need to give
yeah,
a YouTube reviewer one. So I'll do the review, send it back. They can resharpen it and go on. So that
yeah,
I don't that I even answered the question, but that is something that I am passionate about.
yeah. No, I certainly appreciate it. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you, you had this came from your live stream with all the American Maker guys that you had on, but I think you put out a short or a video or something. No, it was a full video, and you were asking for people's opinions on American made knives. And I think what you were getting at is why are they so expensive?
Well, no, I wasn't asking for their opinion on them. What I was asking was, and I'll give you I'll explain it. Um, I had the live with Ernie Emerson and Curtis and Greg Medford and Eric, and it was great. And I was probably asking the wrong guys. They're kind of boutique makers.
Right,
But the thing is this: if all of these folks are going to just shove it down our throat to buy American
right,
for no other reason than to be patriotic and be American, and that's fine, then or support the American working man. It irritates. Who are you talking to? You're
yeah,
talking to American working people. So
right,
give me an idea how. Now I know why. I know exactly why American knives are more expensive. I work in industry. I have worked in industrial setting for 37 years. I understand workman's comp and unemployment and American wages, and I get it. But the whole point of that video was this: focus on your product, focus on your QA, put out the best product you can. People who are going to buy Chinese knives or buy Pakistani knives or buy other knives, not everybody's doing that because they're inexpensive. A lot of people go online and they say, "Hey, I like that knife. I'm a
yeah,
grown ass adult and I work, so I'm going to spend my money on it that I earned." It's
right,
not that deep. But
yeah,
I found that if you cover your product and you put out a quality product and be proud of your product, just like Jacob from a very good knife company, you're not going to have problems with sales.
right.
And here's the other side, and I'll get off the soapbox. When the tariffs come in, whether they're 10%, 20%, or 60%, American knife makers will have a beautiful opportunity
Yeah.
to do something big there.
Yep.
So we'll see how they respond.
I would. The thing that gets me, well, for some of them, it's the price for what they're charging, and I know that they don't have to. And I'm talking about the American production knife companies now,
The big ones.
the big ones, and there's only a couple.
Mhm.
Have insects on the blades?
Yeah, that are
Spiders
just
and butterflies?
charging. Yeah, spiders and butterflies. They're just charging way too damn much for the material that they're putting out, and that kind of irks me. And I think it's because I know that people are going to buy them. Just because name alone. You know, and then you've got the Case and Buck of the world, historic American companies that everybody loves, but their QC and the products that they're putting out are absolute shit. Let's be honest. I've got Rough Rider knives that cost $12, better than most Case knives, and a lot of people that love Case, they won't buy them anymore online. They unless they can put their hands on it and see that knife. And that irks me too. You want people to buy American. Well, put out a better product.
Give
I
us a
just,
reason to.
yeah, put out a better product. Why shouldn't an American knife be better than a Chinese knife? It should, in my opinion, for what you're charging for them and what the wages of the people that work there are, and for all the reasons they say, and then you turn out shit. It
Yeah.
just irritates me.
Well, when you get up and you go to work every day, like we do, I get up I think at 4:30. Well, I don't think I know. I'll be damned if I want somebody telling me I don't need to be guilt tripped into buying. So I have more American knives and show more
Yeah.
than any other than uh, I probably have, honestly, if we just broke it down by brand, I probably got more work tough gear. But then it's companies like Tops and K-Bar, and I've got a lot of Ontario. I've got a lot of different knives. The thing is this: focus on what you're, just like you said, focus on your QC. If you focus on your QC and you focus on the products you're putting out, you don't have to worry. See, they've got wrapped in their head and they've just got it driven in their head that everybody's buying other knives because they're cheaper. That's not
No,
why
no.
people are buying other knives. They've
Yeah.
also got in their head that, we're a little, I don't like how we get treated. Um,
Yeah.
as far as now, I don't expect free anything. I don't want anybody kissing my ass. I don't even want to thank you. But if I look at you at a blade show and I say, "How you doing?" Your ass can speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That runs up one side of me and down. You ain't shit to me.
Yeah.
One. And I'm not, I get mad about it. I get angry about it. Joe tried to get Benchmade and Spyderco. We are going to get them on Blade Talk. Well, we got to look at your views and we got to look. No, you don't want to talk. Are we had Ernie Anderson? Who are you?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you don't. It's free advertising. What are you talking about? It doesn't
So
matter if it's
I
20
promise
views.
you this: Joe may have him on his channel, or he may have Megan prop me up on this throne as a skeleton. That's the only way the masters will be on my channel. And yes, I'm that petty. I promise you, I'm that petty.
Yeah.
If we're going to give you advertising and we're going to help you out, come on the channel. Speak to people. You're not above everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And I don't have like a history with Benchmade, and I don't know how it was before the founder of the company passed away or whatever, but
Right.
apparently a lot of all of what you're talking about is since the founder passed away, and it's in new hands and has gone a new direction. So, but I can't speak to that because I don't know how it was before.
But let me say this too. If I'm gonna say the bad, I've got to say the good. You've got guys like John Stitt at K-Bar, awesome guy.
Yeah.
Ernie Emerson, you dude, you talking about salt of the earth, good dude, give you his time, regardless of what you think about Ernie's knives. He took time with both Joe and I when we went to Blade Show, just to Steve at Colonial Knife Company. And that's a company I really want to help. And in fact, I think I've got one of these Colonial Knife. Are you guys are familiar with them, right? With the slip
Yeah.
joint, the
Oh,
Boy
yeah.
Scout knives. It's guys like that who are just genuine good people that you want to help.
Yeah.
And those guys, that Steve and John and all those guys, man, that's kind of like knife royalty. That's like
Yeah.
old school. I mean, you were talking about the old companies.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't get any older than that.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know? So
And
those are the guys I want to help. And you know, it's nothing against the product. I'm sorry. It's everything against the product. It's nothing against the average guy that works there. Nothing. Because that
right.
dude is like us. The guy over there is just torquing in handle scales every day. He ain't got shit to do with it.
Right.
You know, I would like to see, and like I said, when these tariffs kick in, we'll see how serious they are about us buying American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm glad to see Colonial making a comeback.
Me
Because
too.
I think those historic American cutlery companies need to be front and center. You know what I mean? And have
Agreed.
a greater market share.
Agreed. And I've got the. I'm looking. I'm sorry. I get distracted. Here it is. This knife right here, and I've seen this on Isaac's Knife and Knowledge.
Yeah.
Um, this is that from Steve. This is from Colonial Knife Company. It's the E400. Now mine is not pretty or shiny, and I beat the hell out of it. And I believe Joe's got one of these too.
That's badass.
Dude, this thing, I don't even know what it costs. You could get one of these and a slimmer model. There was one about the size of we did the mutant from Exodus Knife and Tool. They ran a special where you could get one of these and one of those other size, the E100, I think for $140.
That's
Two
a deal.
American made knives. This one bit me. It's still got the blood on it. But yeah, I want to help these guys. This is what
Yeah.
I want to do. This is what. Here's the other thing, Tim, and you know this, Jake. You know this. Every swinging dick on the planet reviews a PM2 or has a PM2
Right.
or has a bug out or has a, and that's, dude, that's fine. I lost my PM2 and I got to buy another one and not tell my wife, but I would rather do, nobody does these. Isaac's Knives and Knowledge, Tom Ritter, me and Joe. And this would be a knife if y'all wanted to check out. I'd gladly clean it up and send it to you to beat the hell out of. You ain't got to do a review on it. Just, this is a good ass knife.
Yeah, I would definitely like to check it out.
I'll send it.
I haven't had a chance to look at any of their new stuff since they've started making a comeback. Um, but yeah, I'm glad to see them doing that.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what's crazy, and I'll make it really quick. What's crazy about that is when we had Steve on, when Joe and I had Steve on, um, they never went anywhere.
Really?
But here's what happened. They started doing OEMs for other knife companies.
Okay.
Well, they quit putting Colonial Knife on the not like say they do a run of knives for whoever, right? They would just put the other company's name on there. Well, you do that for 30 years.
Yeah.
And he said, man, it was lucrative. And he said, but we kind of got past this 25, 30 years. So when we come back, everybody's like, oh, you're back in business. Well, they never left. So
Yeah.
that's why I think you see now some of the OEMs like River and some of these other guys, they can be insistent. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
On putting their logo on someone else's knife. I don't blame them there. Damn.
Yeah. And Schrade is another American knife company that's starting to make some American knives again, and I'd love to see that. I love all those historic American companies, and we need them. We need
Yep.
Schrade and Colonial and K-Bar and all of those guys to start, putting out product and
quality product too.
Yeah, quality product, and they can. I mean, they've been doing it forever.
Yeah. You get that, and that's and I'll say this too, and we as knife reviewers need to start kind of focusing on when they are quality, instead of trying to blow them up and bust them up and hit them with an axe handle and do all that. Actually review them in actual use.
Yeah.
I think that and people can say what they want, but I've seen it since YouTube came on and since all these channels, and I'm as guilty as anybody guilty as charged, is just beating the absolute hell out of a knife. Then makers go, well, you know what? If you're going to do that, you're not going to embarrass us and break our shit. So they start putting out sharpened problemers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we need to let channels like Joe X, who thrive on that and who have a platform to do that. I think we need to let Joe do that, and the rest of us actually do honest, actual use and reviews to give everybody an honest look. I think it goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
If they're going to put out good quality, then let's not try to shit all over.
Yeah. And I've heard you talk about that in a lot of your videos about how you're making a conscious effort to just not beat the ever loving shit out of it. And you'll say, if you want to see that, go watch Joe X. I just want to show you the knife being used. And I think that's great because look, people don't use their knives the way Joe X uses them. That's not use. That's a torture test. That's completely different.
And the reason I push people towards Joe, is this. He's honest.
Yeah.
There's no agenda with Joe. Joe's agenda is to break the knife. That's it. You're not going to see Joe accidentally, oh, this knife broke. No, every knife breaks.
Yeah.
That's why if you want to see that, go to Joe. And I tell everybody, be kind of skeptical of what you're watching. Skill set plays into it. Materials play into it. Agendas play into it. I'll be the first to tell you, being in Northeast Florida, I don't have a lot of hardwoods at my disposal. So a lot of times I'm using what I have. I use pine, or I use camphor, I use, whatever's there. And I try to be upfront with that, because I don't want somebody to take the same knife and go out to black locust and just go to town.
Right.
And get chip, and they go, Scab, what are you doing? Well, no, guys, it's regional.
Yeah.
You got Jake out in California. We got Joe up in New York. Me and you are in Florida. We got guys all over this country. And I think that's something that we all, Imler is out in San Diego. A lot of desert stuff there. He's out there hitting stuff that'll chip the shit out of a knife. Not intentionally. I'm just saying, when you're watching a knife review, where the guy's at, what they're doing, and how they're doing it. That, be kind of conscious about that. And I try to be.
Yeah, I've looked to start doing more use reviews. I've looked for wood to use, and I'm telling you, there's nothing here but freaking pine trees and oak trees. Pine trees and oak trees. That's it. And I'm not stomping 30 miles off in the woods to find something different, but we got a shit ton of pine trees and oak trees.
Yeah. Well, as long as you say, hey, this is pine.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going through it. Or at work, a lot of times, and I made the mistake. I did make this mistake. At work, taking a piece of dunnage and be like, the Wolverine or the mountain lion, versus a 4x4. Well, I started that's not really a 4x4. So I changed it. You try to be as upfront as you can, because, and I don't know how you guys are, but I know when I first started the channel, at this hand before God, I thought, I'll get on here and play with knives for a couple of years. Nobody will take it serious, and I'll be on down the road. I'll never forget when somebody was like, "Hey man, I bought that knife based on your review. I like the shit." And I'm like, well, "What?" And that started changing because, and I'm being serious. I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right." See, that reeled me in a lot too. Going over to Blackie Thomas's, those boys over there aren't carrying this. I'm just going to tell you, they're
Yeah.
just not. They're carrying. Well, I'll tell you exactly what they're carrying. They're carrying a William Collins. You
Yeah.
know, they're carrying, and this would be big for what they carry. But they're going to carry something, like a William Collins, a handcrafted bushcraft knife. I talked to William on the phone yesterday about the video that I dropped today. He does a 12 to 13 degree per side
Yeah.
on his knives, 12 to 13 degrees. It is a cutting tool from William. So you try to bear that in mind as well. So that there's a lot of factors that went into that, Tim, or go into that.
Yeah.
And go into the channel at large that when I started, I just didn't think about, because I thought ain't nobody watching this. You know what I'm saying?
And
For
Gideon
sure.
makes a good point here. And I've seen several of his videos. He uses the shit out of that cold steel SRK and uses it hard. And then somebody broke it in half with a club, and then people started saying it was absolute shit. Well, they broke it in half with a club.
Listen,
That's silly.
Right.
listen. Well, here they are.
Stacy, we don't have palm trees in my part of Florida. I live
Yeah,
in Northwest Florida. Ain't no
we're in the
palm trees
redneck
here.
part of Florida.
Yeah, I'm in Alabama, and Scab's basically in Georgia.
Yeah, I'm in South Georgia. I've got 3 or 4 SRKs, and I love SRKs. And I'm doing this. The handle's a little loose. It's all how you use a knife. Listen, if somebody wants to get bent out of shape about a knife breaking, who put that up that they were all over? Man, use your
Gideon.
SRK. Use your damn SRK. Everybody on here's broke one. Now I used it. Getting stuff. Man, keep using it. Don't worry about what them guys. Let me tell you something. If I wanted to, and this ain't no shade at whoever that calculated guy is. If I wanted to, I could take every one of these knives from this Geotech right here to all my work tough gear to all the tops to all. I could take every one of these bastards, put it in a stump, and break it.
Yeah.
I could break every knife I got. That don't mean jack shit.
Yeah.
You guys, listen to. There are people when we had Lynn Thompson on. That dude's a maniac, but I loved him. It was
Yeah, he
awesome,
is. Yeah, he
dude.
is.
He was awesome. But you know what? It made me start realizing is every company has haters. Every company has fanboys. I talked to Bill Harsey Sunday. I talked to Mr. Bill for probably an hour a month. Um, and he told me, he said, Scott, when we first started with Spartan, he said we had guys that would pay certain reviewers to break our stuff on air. I said, huh? He goes, yeah. He sent me links. He said, you have to be careful. And I talked to Bill a lot about this and, of course, logging and all kind of crazy stuff, but getting his perspective on it. That's why, and Joe gets on to me all the time for explaining, like you were saying, I was explaining about, certain why I do things. I do that so that people understand why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it to show you how tough the knife is, right? I could break every single knife.
Yeah.
And I can make it look like an accident, Tim. You could too, Jake. You
Yeah.
could. We've all done this long enough. Hey,
Yeah.
y'all, I bet you I would be willing to bet anybody $100 that any of the 3 of us, or a lot of these guys that are content creators watching, could go out, could get a knife from one of these Army Navy surplus stores that's $10. We could do a review on it, make it look like the best knife in the world, and nobody would know the difference.
Nobody. No,
Nobody.
you can't. I mean, that's the magic of a little bit of editing. You can make anything look like shit or anything look magical, you know?
Oh yeah.
So,
And that's the other side. That's the other side. You can take that knife and make it look like a rock star, and you can take a solid knife like an SRK or a BK2, and this one's going to piss some people off, and that's quite okay. Or you can take one of these and you can break it or bend it pretty easily, and you can talk about how it's a design flaw and blah 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 blah, and everybody will feed right into it. Yeah. To me, like John Stitt, when we had John on, John took a K-bar after we went off the air. John took a K-bar. He said, "Boys, I want y'all to watch this." And Joe is my witness. John Stitt, the president of K-bar, took it just like this, walked behind his desk, stood on it, and bent it. Yeah. Almost into a U. He said, "That's not a design flaw. That's on purpose." You know why that's on purpose? He stepped on it and bent it back because you can right back.
Yeah.
So to me, a lot of this is skill set. You know.
That's so when you stab one guy with it, it gets bent. You can straighten that mother out and stab the next dude with it. That's what that's for.
Well, and it's not every knife is made or built to hack through a concrete block or a damn anchor chain.
Exactly.
Right.
It's just not.
Yeah, and so much of what we talk about in videos is down to preference. I think it's hard to educate an entire audience, but when you're watching a review, just because I love the ergos on my White Mountain knives doesn't mean that it's going to match your hand the same way it matches mine. You have to look for the things that you like in a knife, and even if that's something I don't like in the review, you know that, oh, I like when a knife has that, or I don't like when a knife has that, but he does, and take those factors into account. I try and do less reviews or talking about whether something's worth it or not, because everyone's opinion's different, everyone's hands are different, everyone's budgets are different. Just doesn't make sense to talk about knives in a blanket statement.
That's something that I learned from you, Jake, from doing this show, is to sort of get away from that. If it's worth it, if it's not worth it, that's not for me to say. But like you just mentioned, one thing I always say is when I'm doing my reviews, I have wide ass hands. You know, I don't have long fingers, but they're wide. And so a lot of times, a lot of knives for me are 3-finger grip, but it's going to be plenty of grip for a lot of people. I just have freaking bear paw hands. Yeah, show him that. This guy, he took that freaking $9 Ozark Trail Walmart and had it laser engraved.
That is awesome.
What is it? Is it SpongeBob?
Yeah, it's that SpongeBob meme where he's like kind of making fun of it. So it has like Benchmade in the alternating capital and lowercase letters underneath.
Is he shooting a bird?
No, no. It's an actual image, I think, from one of the cartoons. Not sure, but
I thought it was SpongeBob flipping the bird and said Benchmade on it.
That is awesome.
Yeah, funny. That's pretty cool. Yeah, the Ozark Grail. I like ragging on that knife just because so many people said it was the greatest thing ever made. And so I play to that. I mean, it is what it is. If you want a $10 knife to cut packages, it's going to do just fine at that. Yeah, Jake is a knife nerd.
For sure.
Well, there's a lot of people that want to shove their preference on you, you know. And they're subjective. Every knife's subjective, man. And I try on this channel, I do try to say it frequently. I don't care what you carry. I really don't. And not from an asshole way, but from listen, carry what you can afford, carry what you enjoy, and don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, have fun with your stuff, play with your stuff, use your stuff. You know, I know a lot of guys get aggravated with me when I say use your stuff. I'm not talking about, you know, the $5,000 Randall Peepaw gave you. I'm talking about guys that, you know, I get this all the time. Man, I bought this for self-defense last year. It ain't got a mark on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not advocating stabbing anyone, but you know, you don't want to wait until you get in a real shitty situation to break that bad boy out.
Or to figure out
get in your survival situation and figure out that some bitch can't hold an edge or anytime you go to make feather sticks, you're chipping the blade, and there are knives out there that bad.
Oh yeah,
So that's what I mean by that.
yeah. And I'm just people know what they're gonna get from me.
Yeah, exactly.
I like what I like, and I don't give a shit what anybody has to say about it. If I like it, I like it. You know, it
Enjoy
don't
it.
matter. It don't matter if it's $5 or 500. Speaking of Peepaw, I wish he would give me a $10,000 bow, Randall. That would be nice. I need that guy for my Peepaw.
Bro, I don't have a $10,000 one, but I'm gonna show you this one that JR got for me for like Christmas, birthday, and everything. This is the Randall
Dude,
Model 1
God,
7. Now listen, this thing, and people are like, I just don't get it. Well, then you never will.
then you won't get it.
This has been my grail knife since I was 10 years old.
That's so badass.
Dude. And you get it. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Oh
here's
yeah.
the had people say, send it. I'm not sending it to nobody.
Hell no.
This is my Randall. I tell you what I am going to do next year when I go to Blade Show. I'm taking it with me. I got a guy out there that I'm going to get. We're going to get the edge done, because I'll be honest with you. There are times I just walk around in my underwear holding this knife. I love it that much. I'll put on a belt with the sheath and just walk around. This is one of the few knives, and I mean this, that I think if shit did get, the imaginary situation everybody dreams after, where you're driving up a mountain and you roll your truck and all you got is your knife and your underwear. I do think this is a knife that you could use right out of the box. It has
Yeah.
that feel. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
got like that vibe to it. You hold it, you know it almost immediately. This is really one of my most treasured knives. I love
Yeah.
this thing. I just wanted to show it off. I got around it.
Yeah, that's a
No.
beauty
That is a beauty. I would freaking love to have something like that. I don't have
for sure.
any Randall knives, but I would love to. Have you seen? You've been to Blade Show, Scab. Have you seen the guys, the Randall collectors there out in the hallway? Holy shit! Some of those guys have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Randall knives. It's insane.
Yeah.
Bro, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Byron, you're a good man. What's that?
Thank you, Byron. Thank you,
Yeah,
Byron.
man.
Appreciate it.
He wants to see the scabber stabber.
Let's see it.
Pull this up while he's doing that. This is a little bit easier to read graphic
Oh, nice.
that I had actually gave him to for the lasering.
I've seen that. Yeah. That's
That-
awesome.
This is.
Let me make it big.
This thing is so good. Whoops.
Now, I'm the worst in the world at camera here. Here we go. This is the Scabber Stabber. Jed Hornbeak, who's a custom maker out of Tennessee, did this. We did a collab. Now, here's the thing. That's his logo, right? Jed sewed this himself. So the leather sheath is almost as dope as the knife. Almost. This is red ostrich skin.
That's
And
fun.
then
That's too cool.
It's double edge, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I did the tip this way for a specific. I did everything on it. And now Jed helped me a ton with the design. But this is the thought was, and it does have a little bit of a Roman gladius look to it.
Yeah, it does.
But it's more, I wanted like a war dagger.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. Now, when he made it, I was going to beat the shit out of it, right?
Yeah.
And then he sent it, and I'm like, I will never ever.
Yeah, I'm not beating that up.
The guy is just a monster. When we went to Blade Show, and I know we're running long, so I'll make it quick. When we went to Blade Show, Jed had a table, and we walk up, and he's got a coat. He's got on like a jacket, a suit jacket. He's got his logo emblazoned on the back. and he's got that Bandito vest. You remember that movie with Antonio Banderas, Mariachi, where the guy had the vest with all the knives?
Yeah.
Jed made one. Sewed the vest from Tennessee to Atlanta, and already had all the custom throwing knives in it. Bro, it's sick.
That's
sick.
Cool.
That guy, if y'all get a chance, go to Jed Hornbeak. Just like it sounds, go to his website. That guy's amazing. Amazing.
That's cool.
Any chance that design ever gets put into production? Or maybe like a drop, 8, 10, 12.
Jed's got 4 or 5 of them.
Does he?
He asked me if he could do them. Now mine, I think mine's in 5160. I wanted mine in carbon. I think he's got some in 3V. The thing with Jed is this. He does everything, everything is machined, obviously, but he is the machinist. He is the maker, from the sheath to the handle scales to everything. So it is a little more pricey. If it was something anybody ever really wanted to look at, I might look at getting one. I'm going to get another one from him, because I really do want one for reviews. But I'm just going to tell him, man, dumb that thing down. I don't want it that free. I want, give me a bead blast finish. He just went way overboard. He did one for Donnie. I think he's done one for Joe. Yes, it is sold on this site. He's got, now I've got a custom camp knife with him too. It's not a camp knife. It's just a belt knife that I love, that we've got a collab on, and a sheep's foot version of it. But yeah, go to Jed.
So speaking of that, one last thing, we're over time a little bit, but have you ever thought about designing a knife, putting it into production, getting somebody to do that for you, or is that just not something you're interested in?
No. No, I'm good where I'm at, Tim.
Yeah.
I like, it's like we talked a little bit earlier. There are folks who can have many different hobbies, right? My wife's one of them. She can do a bunch of different things and do it well. When I sink my time into something, I like focusing on one thing, and that plays into that small maker mantra too, helping them out. And I think for me personally, doing a design, I think that it would, I think it would take the fun and joy out of what I do.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Maybe one day. Never say never.
Yeah, you never know. Old Joe's making swords now. He sent me that one that he did up. That thing was badass. That's another rabbit hole I don't need to go down, but man, that thing was freaking awesome. Yeah, I could see
Swords
myself.
are fun, dude. Swords are just amazing.
Oh man, I had so much fun with that thing. I chopped up so many bottles and shit. Yeah, I had to be careful. Like, I always worry about cutting my finger, but I was like, man, I got a sword now. I got to be careful not to chop off my damn leg.
Oh yeah, I got the. I did it on camera, but nobody really saw it. I took this thing, if I can find it. That's all the work tough gear stuff. I took this thing, the Warwolf.
Damn,
and I went to cut a damn bottle with it, Tim. And when I swung, I come from the side. I swung, hit the bottle, and I stabbed myself in the inner thigh.
Jesus.
That's just now healing. So,
yeah,
like I said, you if you pay attention to that particular short, I've done something stupid. You just don't know what. But yeah, man, I've had people tell me, "Oh, I've never cut myself." It's not about. I think for me, I know for me, I get too comfortable and I get too complacent. I cut myself all the time. Randy
Yeah,
cut his swap on a knife I sent him. That about cut
I
it.
remember that.
and it's like Stein.
Oh God,
Stein,
yeah,
he almost chopped his damn head off.
bro.
He,
That
he
that
had
shit was
it
yeah.
was a work tough gear or something. He threw it into a stump and the shit bounced back and caught him right there and nicked him. I mean, another inch and he'd have been
It was
dead.
one I had sent.
Yeah,
It was one I had sent him to check out. Yeah, that shit was scary, man.
yeah,
Matthew Jensen with a sword. Now he breaks swords. That's what he does. He's got a clip where he hits an iron pole. The sword broke and come at him like a helicopter. Had it been over this way any, he was a goner. I mean, he never had time. You see him after it goes by kind of move. And it
yeah,
was kind of the same thing that Steins did, except it was just helicoptering to the other side. So, but I think a lot of times, man, especially the guys that cut a lot and do a lot, I'll tell you what it is. I get complacent
yeah.
and I try to hurry. And every time I do, instead of doing the right thing and slowing down, I cut myself. My hands are all scarred up, man.
Oh yeah. I think we've all got scars. That's gonna happen. Um, well, we're up against the clock here. I just want to say, if anybody's watching and has not entered the giveaway, we're giving that away. I'm probably going to announce a winner sometime around Thanksgiving. The QSP Capybara. Uh, Scab, you got any last thoughts? Anything you want to shout out before we call it a wrap?
Couple quick things. Blackie Thomas,
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, guys, please pull his channel up and watch videos. Joe X is doing a raffle for Blackie. Check that out. And Joe and I think Joe just finding out about this now. After Thanksgiving, we'll be doing kind of a giveaway. We're going to do those 2 knives from RoseCraft, and I've got some work stuff to give away. Other than that, man, I am truly appreciative, Jake, to both of you guys. Thank y'all for having me. I don't get asked to get on these much, so thank you very, very
I
much.
appreciate it just as
You're
much.
you're a freaking rock star, man, and you're a pillar of the community, whether you want to be or not. So, I
We laugh
certainly,
about that quite often.
yeah. I mean, you've helped me a ton, and you've always been super gracious, and certainly appreciate your time. And thanks for coming on, Jake.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Any last words before we take off?
No, just huge shout out to everyone who tuned in. The moderators, Bluminati and Randy, were holding it down the whole show. Appreciate you guys throwing up all those links. And thank you, Byron, for the donation. All greatly appreciated.
Yep. Thanks, guys. We will see you next week over on Jake's channel.
All right. Thanks, everyone.